Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Dropping Knowledge with Noah. Today, we are jumping into AI and F&I. This is episode 4 of our AI in the Dealership series. We covered marketing, we covered sales, we covered operations. Now we're jumping in and talking about F&I. So going back to our original thesis, right? AI is not just one tool you bolt on. It is an operating layer across the whole store. And we also need to remind people that AI is not going to fix your broken processes. It will only break them faster. So you want to make sure that you're dialing in your processes before you layer AI on top of it to enhance them and make them even better. So like I said before, we talked about marketing, we talked about the sales floor, we talked about fixed ops. Let's talk about F&I. And this is where we have a lot of challenges, right? F&I right now is usually where that deal slows down. So that F&I manager, they're juggling desking, credit apps, lender portals, menus, compliance checks, and contract systems. And most of the time, those systems aren't really talking to each other. We're talking constant rekeying, having to duplicate your work, running into errors, and things are taking longer. And this is a problem because what's one of the biggest pain points for shoppers when they are actually buying the car? Time spent in the dealership. So customers, they want out of the dealership fast. They've spent the time negotiating with that salesperson, doing the test drive, talking to the sales manager. They think, oh, the deal's good to go. Then they jump into the F&I manager's office and it takes an extra hour. They're not exactly happy about it. But the thing is, we want to make sure that we are protecting our profit using, our F&I products that we're selling, and also making sure that we're compliant so we're not missing any issues and we're not, selling a car to a guy that doesn't exist and all of a sudden our, $50, $60, $100,000 vehicle is off in some random country and we're never going to get it back and that guy's disappeared. So we got to make sure that we're crossing all our I's and dotting our T's. Goes around the other way, crossing our T's, dotting our I's, but you know kind of what I'm talking about here. So it's a big challenge. So let's just focus in on the customer a little bit first, right? What are the 2 steps buyers say drag the most? Number 1, applying for financing, getting that approval. Number 2 is waiting to sign paperwork. So those are the 2 steps that F&I owns. But the room that's supposed to protect margin is also generating the most this took forever sentiment. So we want to think about how can we streamline that process when that person's sitting across the desk from you, just like we were talking about that when sales was the conversation and when fixed ops was the conversation. Idle time is wasted money and unhappy customers. And we see that too with what customers are doing around F&I, right? So 66% of shoppers, they have looked up their credit score online, right? It's super easy. It's free. They kind of know what their credit app is or their credit score or worthiness is right out of the gate. Or 55% of them have gotten a pre-approval online somewhere. Now, what we see here, 31% of shoppers actually applied for credit online. And I think there is a lot of room for improvement there because there's a lot of benefits to getting that person to apply for credit online. And we only saw about 13% who have signed paperwork remotely, so have done a remote deal. But I'm going to actually focus in right here, the applying for credit online. And here's why, right? It actually pays twice. Number 1, if we can get that person to apply for credit online before they come into the store, on average, there's a 14 to 17 point jump in buying process satisfaction for that customer. So it's faster because you're able to, get them approved in advance, figure out, what lender's going to be the best for this particular deal. You're probably verifying their ID, you're doing your OFAC, your red flag checks in advance. So if this is actually a customer you want to be selling to. And then on the kind of unsung hero part of things is when it comes to auto routing. So what am I talking about here? Normally, if somebody comes in, fills out a credit app in the store, F&I manager enters it in manually, 9 times out of 10, what we see is they click on every single bureau and send it out to them. Now that costs a lot of money, especially if you're, relying normally on just one. So you're paying for 2 bureaus that you don't normally use. Instead, if you get that credit app online in advance and you auto route it, you can say, hey, I only want it to go to Equifax or Experian or whatever, right? Or TransUnion. So you're actually only paying for that one bureau and saving the 2 bureaus that you don't really use. Now let's multiply that over thousands of credit apps per year. We're talking mega bucks that you are saving and not spending on stuff that doesn't add any value to you as a dealership. So if you're going to come away with one thing, right, from this presentation is push for that credit app before that person comes in. Now, obviously, you don't want to say, hey, we're not going to let you test drive the vehicle unless we get a credit app, or, we're not going to give you numbers unless we get you a credit app. It's really kind of like after you've had those conversations, sent that person a digital deal link, gotten them to figure out what their payment is. And when they're saying, hey, we'd like to come in, hey, there's a really good opportunity for you to say, hey, you know what? You can save yourself a whole lot of time if you fill out your credit app online before you come in, and we can make sure we get you the best deal possible. So it's just a kind of a change of turn of phrase, change of mindset. Now you've got happier customers and you're saving yourself literally thousands of dollars, if not more, because you've added that little bit of automation to your process. Okay, so I was talking about one fix. Let's talk about a little bit more. Okay, number one, we want to make sure, right, if we're streamlining this process, we want to have that singular deal view. So that means that if your salesperson's working a deal, the sales manager can see that same deal updated in real time, and your F&I manager can see that same deal in real time. So wherever the edits are made in the deal, whoever looks at it gets to see those changes and is up to date, because what things happen, how things happen right now, right? Salesperson, maybe they Foursquare them. Sales manager is not aware of it until they walk over with a piece of paper. Sales manager desks it. Salesperson's not aware of it until they get that number back. And then F&I manager is kind of in the dark until the deal's ready to go, right? And then they got to rekey all that stuff once again. Instead, we want that singular deal view. So, shameless Cox automotive pitch, we got Deal Central does that for you. So from first pencil to, desking the deal to putting it into F&I, it's a singular deal record. And wherever changes are made, it shows up everywhere you need it. So everybody's in on it. They know what's going on. Plus, you can push product earlier in the process, and that actually adds more profit in the back end. Now, the next thing is we want to use AI, right? We're talking about AI in the dealership to help with our lender decisioning. So, we have a new platform. You're going to hear about it. It's called F&I Intelligence. You're going to hear more about it as we push it out down the road here. We're piloting it across multiple dealerships. But number one is that, we want that single view of every lender decision. Right now, most dealers, they're bouncing between their lenders to see which deal is best for them. And they have to kind of switch screens and swivel chair and kind of figure it out. Instead, what we're going to do here is list them all out in one screen and help you compare the profitability and, the buy rates and the sell rates for each one. So you figure out which deal is best for you and best for your customer. Now, the other thing that we're doing inside of Deal Central is if we've got that person's credit information, or even we can do credit score using ID verification, we can use AI to, present different scenarios and payment scenarios with profitability estimates inside of that desking solution. So your sales manager, they can see, oh, you know what, I can use this lender and I can, stretch the loan out to 60 months and I can make this much more from the deal, and the customer gets a lower payment. They're probably going to be happy with that, right? Now, the other thing too is we're using predictive insights to give you, opportunities to reach out to customers and send them links to deals and get them into that system earlier. Now, the other great thing too is with this F&I intelligence tool that we're releasing is, it basically keeps that F&I manager in control of that process from start to finish. So they're not obsolete. What they are is way more efficient and able to make better decisions when it comes time to present products and also, pick lenders and build out that contract. Now, the other thing too, right, is using AI to help you with compliance. ID fraud is going crazy right now. It's super easy to spin up a fake ID, using Gemini, ChatGPT, image, making tools, etc. And what we're doing is a couple of different things, right? Number one, we have a tool called AMD Elite. Allows you to verify that person's ID before they come into the store. So they enter a checkout process, They take a photo of themselves, they take a photo of the license. We use AI to verify it, make sure it is who they say they are. And also, when you get that credit application in early, you can run your OFAC, you can run your red flag, you can do your ID verification, and we can actually have that person verify their insurance through that portal using AMD Elite. Big time saver. So we want to get people to do more of that process online and digitally because we have more control over it. We're able to capture that data and really do more with it. Now, the other thing too is, using AI to take a look at those deals. So, using F&I intelligence, we can flag those wrong taxes, fees, and missing fields, and basically have everything dialed in when we're building out that contract. So it's surfacing those problems early, not at the funding desk. And that leads to, fewer kickbacks, faster deals and funding, and cleaner audits. All right. Now, the other thing too is, with menus. So the thing is, busy work really kind of sucks. It's really a pain in the butt to, have to go through a bunch of different documents, make sure, all the I's are dotted, T's are crossed, etc. When people are really good at being people and selling stuff. So what we want to do is use AI to automate that contract generation, automate the forms, pull it all into a single signing ceremony. We're going to talk about that in a minute. But also take that load off of your people so they can focus on those human-powered conversations. Shout out to Asoto, the year of the human, 2026, right? So you're not having those rigid, kind of scripted conversations. All of that friction that usually happens is lifted off your back because AI is kind of handling it. And then your F&I manager can do a better job of selling the value of, gap insurance or an appearance protection plan or a service plan, whatever, right? We want to focus on giving the F&I managers their time back so they can focus on that relationship work. Now, we want to have that single signing ceremony. I mean, if you're out there, raise your hand. You might have had like multiple signing ceremonies in your box, right? But why don't we just pull it all into one, right? So we actually work with Darwin. We can do that now with F&I Intelligence. And what this does is pulls everything in. So you have that single signing ceremony. And 95% of the time with our new technology, we're seeing first-time contract verification in those early pilot stores. So those deals are being funded faster and the store is running leaner. Okay. So when we're able to do this, seeing more time selling for our F&I managers, faster deals and clear profit for GMs and GSMs, for operations back of the house, we're seeing cleaner audits and fewer touchbacks, and our customers are seeing faster deals and less waiting. So what's your AI checklist? Number one, what did I say? Get that credit app online before that customer arrives because it increases their satisfaction rate by 14 to 17 points. And you can save yourself a whole lot of money by auto-routing that application to your one bureau rather than all three. And then you're saving yourself thousands of dollars. Pull all your lender's decisions into one view, run compliance in the background, automate your paperwork, and keep that pitch human, and go for that one deal jacket, one signing. Okay, so that is the Connected AI Dealership. That is the end of the series. I might do a wrap up, kind of talk about everything. I'm kind of up in the air on whether or not I want to do that. But if you did enjoy this, you felt like you learned something, feel free to like and subscribe. It really helps things out. I want to make sure I am educating folks out there so they can improve their business and be a better dealership at the end of the day. So thank you very much for watching and have a good one.